presentation is intended for educational purposes only and do not replace any professional judgment. No copyright infringement. Hello, Goose Ditch. This is Mrs. A saying, together, let us unleash the spirit of learning. Let's get started. Before we start, can you help me identify the complementary DNA strand for each given strand of DNA? Yes, there are base pairing rules for writing complementary DNA strands for a given strand. A for adenine always pairs with T for thymine, and C for cytosine always pairs with G for guanine. The strand is C, G, T, A, G, C, G, C, T, A, T, C, A. Can you give me the partner strand? You're great. Correct. That is G, C, A, T, T, C, G, C, G, A, T, T, A, T. Great job. You are now ready for the next topic. A flower, sometimes known as a bloom or blossom, is the reproductive structure found in flowering plants. The biological function of a flower is to facilitate reproduction, usually by providing a mechanism for the union of sperm with eggs. Flowers may facilitate outcrossing resulting from cross-pollination or allow selfing when self-pollination occurs. As a result, we have a variation of flowers based on their different colors. When red flower cross with white flower, the resulting offspring is a red one. This is one of the idea of incomplete dominance. Incomplete dominance, a non-Mendelian inheritance. What is an incomplete dominance? It is a form of intermediate inheritance in which one allele for a specific trait is not completely expressed over its paired allele. This results in a third phenotype in which the expressed physical trait is a combination of the phenotypes of both alleles. Unlike complete dominance, inheritance, one allele does not dominate or mask the other. Complete dominance was first studied by Gregor Mendel. He is often referred to as the father of genetics. Because of his experiments, persistence, and years of research, you probably wouldn't have a good understanding about who we are or why we share traits with our ancestors. Mendel created three laws that he is known for. First, the law of dominance. Second, the law of segregation. And third, the law of independent assortment. Because of him, heredity was identified. It is the passing down of traits from one generation to another. To get a better understanding of partial dominance, we'll take a closer look at Mendel's law of dominance. In this law, Mendel found that the dominant trait is the trait whose appearance is always in the offspring. As we mentioned earlier, dominance is the relationship between two alleles. If someone inherits two different alleles, from each of the parents, and the phenotype, such as hair or eye color, of one allele is noticeable in the offspring, then that allele is dominant. If one parent has two copies of allele, represented in capital letter A, which would be dominant, and the other parent has two copies of allele, which is represented by small letter a, that would be recessive, then the child will inherit an one dominant trait and one recessive trait represented in one capital letter A and small letter a, which is the genotype, and still display the dominant phenotype. Now that we have a full understanding of the dominance relationship between alleles, let's see how the partial dominance differs. In this picture, these are the characteristics of pea plants which Gregor Mendel used in his inheritance experiments. The question is, can traits be inherited differently? Not all traits are inherited dominantly or recessively. Some traits will actually show a blending of the characteristic in question. Whereas in dominant traits, one gene is expressed over another, which masks that trait. Incompletely dominant traits show a blending of the traits. In this case, all homozygous individuals will show one of the traits, and the heterozygous individual will show a mix of these traits. When the phenotype, the observable characteristic of the heterozygote is identical to the dominant homozygote, the relationship is considered to be complete dominance. Since genetics is full of variations and changes, complete dominance isn't always the outcome, but rather incomplete dominance. From the previous study done by Gregor Mendel, Karl Correns gave birth to the idea of incomplete dominance. He was a German botanist and geneticist who is notable primarily for his independent discovery of the principles of heredity, which he achieved simultaneously but independently of the botanist Hugo de Vries and for his rediscovery of Gregor Mendel's earlier paper on that subject. We understand complete dominance, but you might still be wondering how partial dominance differs. Is it much like the name suggests? Partial dominance is when one of the allele for a specific trait is not entirely dominant over its counterpart or the other allele. The result, which is seen in the offspring, is a combined phenotype. For example, red flower crossed with white flower will be resulted to pink flower. The traits of each parent are neither dominant or recessive. In a partial dominance relationship between two alleles, a third phenotype is a result and is a combination of phenotypes of the two homozygotes. This is often referred to as an intermediate form of inheritance. The alleles do not blend, but partial dominance is often referred to as blending because traits are mixed and appear to be blended. Let us now differentiate the two types of dominance. Let us first have the complete dominance. On the P, which stands for the parental generation, one tall plant, which is represented as two big letter T, is crossed with a short pea plant, which is represented with two small letter t. If we're going to cross it using the Punnett square, you will write first the genotype of the first plant, which is tall, and then on the other side, you will write the genotype of the short plant, which is small letter t. Then, if you're going to cross it for one capital letter T and then small letter t, we will be resulting in one capital letter T and small letter t, which still a dominant trait. That would be the first filial generation. In this cross, we have um, 4 offsprings. 1, 2, 3, 4. All of them has a one capital letter T and small letter t, meaning to say, offspring all look like the dominant parent. So, ibig sabihin, kahit pa meron siyang kasama na recessive trait na small letter t, basta nandoon yung dominant trait, tall pa rin ang kanyang phenotype. But, in incomplete dominance, example is the snapdragon flower color. Meron tayong halimbawang red flower and yung white flower. For the red flower, yung kanyang genotype is represented to 2 capital letter R, which is red. Kunin niyo yung first letter ng color. Then, the other plant is white color. Then, we use W because white. First letter is W. Then, the genotype is 2 capital letter ng W. Now, if you're going to cross it, sulat niyo muna yung genotype ng red. So, that is 2 letter R capital. Then, on the other side, we have the white color. Ayan. And if you're going to see all the offsprings, which is in white boxes, we have 4 offspring na merong R and W na genotype. Okay? Remember na yung genotype, that is the represented letter or alleles that we used to describe the trait. At yung color niya, like red, blue, o yung observable traits niya, yun yung phenotype. So, all offsprings all look like a mix of both parents. In this case, wala tayong color na R and W. But, in incomplete dominance, if you're going to mix red and white, the resulting color will be pink. And that would be the third phenotype. And that is the meaning of incomplete dominance. There is no trait that is dominant to the other, but the trait is blended to form a new third phenotype. Okay, so let us now deepen our knowledge with this word problem. SpongeBob and his pal Patrick love to go jellyfishing at the jellyfish fields. The fields are home to a special type of green jellyfish known as goobers, and only really great jellyfishermen are lucky enough to catch some of on every trip. Many of the jellyfish are yellow, so it is represented to 2 capital letter Y, or blue, represented genotype is 2 capital letter B, but some end up green as a result of incomplete dominance. So use this information to help you or us answer the questions. Now, so let us try. Let's find out. Ang sabi dun sa problem, we need to cross yellow and blue. Okay? So, ayan. Yellow is dalawang capital letter Y at si blue naman, ang genotype niya, is dalawang capital letter B. So, using the Punnett square, sulat niyo muna. Ito siya. Ayan. Dito ko nilagay sa itaas yung yellow na genotype at sa baba naman yung blue. Okay? Now, so, burahin ko lang saglit. So, if we're going to cross it first, ito yung muna i-cross nyo. So, ayan. Tsaka ito. O, that would be our first box. So, meron tayong YB. Okay? Next. if you're going to cross this one and this one, so ito yung ating pangalawa, ayan, so meron tayo ulit na YB. So, ganun lang, paulit-ulit lang yung process. For the third box, yan, burahin ko muna ulit. So, the third box, we have, ayan, so meron tayong YB ulit. And then, for the next naman, silang dalawa naman, so we have another YB. So, etong YB na to, pag nakita nyo doon sa color, ayan, obvious naman, that is color green. So, yung YB, hindi siya yellow-blue. Pag kinombine mo siya, di ba, sa colors, ang resulting color nun is green. So, doon sa problem, we call it as green or goobers. Okay? Now, so let us answer the question. Give the possible genotypes and the phenotypes for the offspring. If this would be the question, titingin kayo ngayon dito sa offspring box. Ayan, yung binilugan ko. Okay? So, ilan ang yellow? Wala. Wala kayo nakikita doon sa binilugan ko. So, ilan ang blue? Okay, wala din. Ang genotype, ito yung in-underline ko. So, letter G, yan ang genotype. Okay? At yung phenotype naman, okay, ayun yung kulay. So, we have yellow. Ayan. Medyo nahihirapan ako. Teka. So, hindi ko sulat. Ayan. Basta lagi natandaan yung letter G, that is the letter, at yung color niya, yun yung phenotype. Okay? So, ilan ang YB, genotype YB, or color green ang phenotype? So, ilan yan? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4. Okay? So, the possible genotypes are YY, BB, and YB. And the phenotypes are yellow, blue, and green. Okay. Next question. What percentage of the offspring would be yellow? Okay. So, tignan nyo ulit doon yung bibinilugan ko yung offspring box. Okay? Bawat box, itong mark ko ng violet. Ayan, yan, yan, yan. Bawat yan ay 25%. Okay? So, meaning to say, if we have 4 boxes ng 25%, there is a total of 100%. Now, walang color yellow. Okay? So, definitely, that is 0%. Okay? Next, what percentage of the offspring would be blue? Okay? Tignan nyo ulit yung ating offspring box. Okay? Wala ulit blue. Okay? Therefore, that is still 0%. Okay? Yan. Now, what percentage of the offspring would be green? Okay? So, 100%. Kasi, di ba, lahat ng offspring box, ayan, ay apat. So, bawat box ay 25%, kaya 100%. Meaning to say, lahat ng anak niya, nung yellow and blue na flower, ay magiging color green. Okay? So, there is 100% percentage that the offspring would be green. Now, so, moving on, let's try another problem. What would happen if SpongeBob and Patrick cross two goobers or green jellyfish? Complete the Punnett square to help you determine the probability for each color of jellyfish. So, i-cross daw natin yung dalawang green or goobers. So, ang kanyang genotype are YB sa dalawa. So, kung dito ay si mother, dito naman ay si father. Now, let's try to cross. Ayan. First one, meron tayong yellow. Next, we have blue. Okay, ano, ito, buburahin ko. So, ito siya. Ayan, si blue. Okay. Next, we have the green. So, Ayan sila. Ayan. Tapos yung next one, ayan. Okay. So, based on the Punnett square, we have offspring na isang yellow, ayan, isang blue, tapos dalawang green. Okay, let's answer this one. Give the possible genotypes and the phenotypes for the offspring. Nabanggit na. So, the answer is 1 YY or yellow, 1 BB or 1 blue, and then 2 YB, green or goobers. Ulitin ko ha, yung letters, eto, yan yung genotype. Okay? Then, yung phenotype ay etong mga kulay. Okay. So, what percentage of the offspring would be yellow? Yan. Isa lang yung yellow, isang box lang yun, therefore, that is 25%. Okay? So, what percentage would be blue? Isang box lang din yun, so therefore, it's also 25%. Now, what percentage would be green? Ayan. We have two boxes na may sagot na YB. So, that is 25% plus 25% is 50%. Okay? So, if you're going to ask what is the ratio, bilangin nyo lang. Dahil apat lang yan, so ang total yun is apat na offspring. So, one yellow, 2 green, and 1 blue. The ratio is 1:2:1. Okay? 1 yellow, 2 green, and 1 blue. Subukan natin itong problem na to. So, what would happen if they cross a yellow jellyfish with a goober? Complete the Punnett square to help you determine the probability for each color of jellyfish. So, ang kanyang mother ay yellow and then goober which is green. Sinulat ko na yung kanilang genotype. So, if we're going to cross this one, the answer would be yellow. Okay? Then, this one, it will be the same. That is will be yellow pa din. Okay? Then, the third, Y and B. Therefore, the genotype will be Y and B. That is green. The same with the last. Okay? So, ganyan lang kasimple. So, ito yung Punnett square. Sulat nyo muna sa taas yung genotype nung mother o kahit magkapalit. Sa kabilang side naman, yung father. Then, you cross box per box. Okay? I suggest you use pencil para mas makita nyo. Okay? So, I hope you learned something from today. And I think you're doing so great and you are awesome. Ayan. So, ayaw pa you ask me via messenger and then I am very grateful to answer or give you assistance. So, auf Wiedersehen, meaning goodbye in French. I'll see you next week for our synchronous class. So, this is Mrs. Atiagan signing off. Thank you very much. So, see you again next time. Goodbye.